For that, Mitesh. Well, Morgan Stanley's Ridham Desai is saying that India is set to become the world's third largest economy by 2031. A recent report by the investment bank also suggests India will become the third biggest stock market before the next decade. My colleague Shereen Bhan caught up with Ridham to discuss key growth risks and a lot more. Here is an excerpt of that interesting conversation.
I think India has done a lot of heavy lifting over the past few years, especially over the last 4 or 5 years. And we did get interrupted by COVID, but we're now coming out of that, and all the labor that we put in terms of policy and other things are now bearing, I think, fruit. There are also a few things happening globally that are helping us. So it seems like a sweet spot for India. In fact, as we highlight in the report, stunningly, India could account for 20% of the growth that the world will generate over the next 10 years. So it's a very, very big shift. India has grown quite well over the past few years, but its share in the global economy is changing in a very dramatic fashion. Now, I'm sensing that companies in India are getting more optimistic. They are starting to run into some capacity constraints. And therefore, there should be a pretty good capex cycle in the next 2-3 years. And that will be great for earnings. So that's something that we'll watch out for as well. But I think India is set to now become a meaningful part of the global supply chain. And a lot of companies will reveal this to you, that they're receiving orders. Hitherto, they didn't have access to those orders because Chinese companies used to take those orders. And they are now all set to increase capacity to service these export orders. On top of this, multinational companies are looking at India as a very attractive destination. This year, India has outperformed emerging markets by 34 percentage points. It's not happened ever before, this type of outperformance. It's really a very, very broken denominator. Emerging markets around the world are really broken. And India is therefore looking so good on a relative basis. But on an absolute basis, the market has not really gone anywhere. We've been digesting, the earnings. We've been digesting what was a relatively high P ratio, and things are, settling down. So it's been a typical consolidation, I would say, very benign consolidation. It could have been a far more volatile consolidation, but it's been a benign one. So I think we're prepping it up. I think 2023 looks like it will be a much better year for absolute returns. So yeah, let's look forward to that, and hopefully we can make a new high soon. It seems like several boards across the world are all prepped up to invest in India. And office to the world is a theme that has actually emerged post-COVID. So it's a silver lining to what was a pretty big human disaster, that CEOs suddenly learned that working from home is okay. And if you're working from home, you might as well work from Mumbai. It's a whole lot cheaper than working from Florida. And that is why jobs are being shipped into India. So offshoring is one big theme.